Hello everyone, Happy New Year, and welcome to episode 34 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
This week we watched The Evil Rings Magic Runs Wild.
Or The Emperor's New Home.
And the enemy is MetalGreymon.
And the captive Digimon. Digimon? Digimon.
It's Dogmons.
Dogmon.
The first episode that we're going to be watching this week is called The Emperor's New Home, or The Evil Rings Magic Runs Wild. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Okay, this is pretty tough. The Emperor's New Home kind of implies, to me anyway, that like the Digimon Kaiser finds like this is new home, because he's kind of been operating out of this like really shady kind of command room. Maybe it implies that he kind of gets a fortress. That it's very clear this is the center of the thing, or like maybe a mega black tower, because it says the evil rings magic runs wild, so that kind of says to me that something superpowers them. Maybe he like forces Digimon to evolve with them now. That could be it. I don't think it has that. That's a reference to the real world. That'd be really odd and out of nowhere. The new home. It's such a strange term. Usually I would say that like it means that like he's moving to the digital world permanently to really focus on his efforts, but that doesn't seem like the kind of character he is. So that's probably not the issue. And The Evil Rings Magic Runs Wild is a really vague title because they've been pretty wild thus far. And that Mimi episode lied to us, and I keep not
How did it lie to you?
They see all the frogs, and they go, Princess Mimi! Princess Mimi!
In
and
the dub, they do that.
And then 30 seconds later, they go, they don't remember me at all!
Yeah, but that's in the dub, so...
No, but I said it lied... it doesn't have to be the... The Mimi episode in English lied to us. Whatever, I just think about that some. The black rings are really weird, and their rules are inconsistent, is what I'm saying. Okay. Also, yep. why did Airdramon have one? That's weird.
What do you mean?
It was on the Greymon's neck.
Yeah, but that was a different kind of... I think it might have been the basis, but it was a different looking thing.
Maybe Ken is in a monkey suit, and he's Airdramon?
Yeah, but the dark ring that Airdramon used was clearly like his dark network.
It was a tech thing, yeah.
Yeah, but it was his dark network, which he was using to control the whole digital world. It is a similar thing, and maybe the Kaiser has found out about that from when he was doing the whole Wonder Swanny things, and he found out that Airdramon used that, and maybe that's where he got the idea from.
Yeah, because like the dark network thing seems like it would suit Ken much more than it suited Monkey.
Well, that was just his attack.
Rockstar Monkey.
So, do you think any character will be a main character in this?
God, I hope not. We've run through all the older kids, right? Mm-hmm. I guess it's Ty's turn again then. Like, oh god, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a title that really behooves anybody in particular, so I can't make any good guesses from it. We've kind of hit the end of the first arc cycle, probably, of, look at all the old kids doing cool stuff. I wonder if they stick around the whole time. I always kind of got the impression they'd show up at the end, or now that I've seen them at the beginning, I guess they should fade away. There's 50 episodes. It'd be super weird if they just stuck around forever, just completely neutralizing the new kids and showing you how unnecessary they are.
So you think like the old kids are going to start fading away and not being as useful anymore?
I'm saying that they should. I'm not saying that they will. I'm saying that would make the most sense. But then when has this show ever done the thing that made the most sense?
Playing games. Someone actually wanted to kill the children.
Okay, you got me there. It's very rare though.
Yeah.
It's like 95% of the time doesn't happen.
So what do you think you'll rate this episode?
Honestly, this is a really promising title. I want to say like a 7. I'm totally ready to be disappointed though. Right. Always ready for disappointment.
The next episode is going to be called The Captive Digimon, or The Enemy is MetalGreymon. What do you think will happen there?
Okay, so I think that they get a dark ring onto Agumon, or / MetalGreymon, which would make a lot of sense. It could be ties, and that would be really interesting, and that would have a lot of pathos to it. I think they might wuss out, and they might just put it on a random MetalGreymon, But the way the second title is worded, it pushes me more to thinking that it's ties, which would begin to sort of phase out the original kids because there's nothing Tai can do as a character from there, because all the kids' agency is through the Digimon. If you attached all of their Digimon's powers to them, you'd lose a little bit of character interaction, but they as characters wouldn't change at all. I mean, that's not true for the original kids. The new kids, I'm totally right, though. But yeah, captures Tai's Agumon/Greymon/MetalGreymon. If I'm right about the first episode that it can force evolutions, then the second episode it could just be Agumon, and that would make more sense because it should be easier to capture. But then Agumon's smarter. He kind of turns into a huge idiot when he becomes Greymon. He just becomes a big, angry dinosaur. Not that Agumon's the smartest, but he seems quick-witted at least, which he loses.
Right. So, in Hikari's memories and Guardian Angel, Ken said that the rings don't work on perfect level Digimon. Do you...
He never said that. I don't...
He does in the original.
I always believe...
He says he doesn't have enough power to fully 100% have the ability to control perfect level.
I always thought that... Well, my interpretation of that was that it's not a guarantee. Not that it doesn't work. It totally works. He absolutely controlled Airdramon. But that particular Airdramon had an absolute certain advantage as to why it wasn't perfectly controlled, and that's the only thing that broke it out of it.
Right.
Now, the first one would give the impression that the evil rings power up in some way, which allows him to take on the perfect levels. And that makes sense, because that would be what he should be trying to do. He's just shown that his experiment failed, and this is a way of going about it. He wouldn't say, it doesn't work on perfects, and then do it anyway. So, the continued story arc and progression based off something that happened before is nice and impressive, because often that's not the case. Usually the only story development is they're not in the same place they were in anymore.
So you think Tai will be the main character of this episode as well? Because you think that it's Tai's Agumon.
You know, it shouldn't be. The thing is, again, if you take away the Digimon, you take away all their agency, he should be, he should definitely have a presence, but he wouldn't be the main character. I would say Daisuke would be the main character, because he's the closest Tai analog, and so you can show his strength without taking his Digimon, and because again that takes his agency, and so it should balance out like that. But it's all guesses, because that's what it is. Obnoxious guesses.
Well, that's the name of the segment. So
that was the joke.
So what do you think you'll rate this episode?
I think... because I'm really afraid... Okay, there are two ways this would go. It could be a huge, stupid, boring fight against MetalGreymon, and that would be like a 3. Or it could be this really interesting emotional thing of like... Which we already asked about Devimon, of why don't they capture the kids as Digimon?
Uh-huh.
And if that's kind of how it goes, then it could be 7, 8. If it's perfect, if it's done really well, you could even push higher than that.
Wow.
But,
Well,
I'm a pessimist.
I've already seen these episodes, and I think I like them, but I like a lot of episodes. I think that they were stronger than what we've seen.
Okay.
But that's just me. I could be completely wrong, and you could just come out and say they were both 1 out of 10s.
1 out of 10.
But I don't think you've ever given an episode 1 out of 10.
Have I not, really?
I think you've given it, at the lowest, I think you've given a 3.
Well, the thing about 1 out of 10s, right?
That's literally the worst thing. It should not be on 10.
I mean 0, but yeah, I think the best example is in game reviews. It was described to me once, where, the issue with the 10 scale is that your 1, in a video game sense, is does not boot. Or, 0 is does not boot, it does not work. 1 is your Euro Truck, whatever, or your Superman 64 of, it works, but you kind of wish it doesn't. And so, for a piece of animation that looks okay, and has okay voice acting, and has a plot that isn't completely nonsensical, I don't think you can ever even make a 2 or less.
Right.
Unless it's offensively bad in that, you just suddenly take it. I think I gave lower than a 3 to say, English Piyamon gets firepower, right? Because that's to be offensive in the way that...
That was before we were doing Obnoxious
It's true, but I
ratings.
would have. what I mean.
But that's because that they completely removed the plot, and I would say that was one of the strongest episodes, really. Well, especially in the early
arc. It was
arc.
the strongest of the early part, and then it really gets overshadowed later.
Yeah. But in the early arc, I think that was like a 10 out of 10 in the first arc, and then, it was overshadowed by other actual 10 out of 10s.
So if you had Angemon just suddenly turns into a giant... What's the poop monster again?
Sukamon or
He just turns into a Mega Sukamon and then just rolls all over the kids.
That exists. It's called Platinum Sukamon?
Yeah, no, but...
Or King Sukamon.
But Angemon does it, and then he kind of bounces into the real world and it's like, "Hi, I'm a poop," and they start interviewing him for the news. And they start doing weird stuff that makes no sense.
Though actually, technically, all Digimon in Digimon...
Sorry, I would give that
Sukamon.
I would give that one a 3, at the least, because that actually sounded awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't even come up with a bad idea for this show.
It'd be a comic relief episode, though. But all Digimon can evolve to Sukamon if they poo around enough. Their virus level goes up, so they become Sukamon.
Right. Well, I guess what I mean is that if they took their lore and it just went completely bananas with it, and just stopped caring, it turned out that Ken's motivation was that he really liked Yoli, that sort of thing. That would be really terrible, and I would just not be interested in it at all. And
nobody likes Yoli.
It would take the show undermining itself rather than trying really hard and not being very good. Like, there's a difference, and you can always kind of appreciate effort. Even when something's not doing great, you can appreciate that it's trying really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas your 1s and your 2s are not trying, and that you can't respect them when they're not trying.
I'm looking forward to hearing what you say about these episodes.
I'm not looking forward to watching them, necessarily, but that's just an issue of enthusiasm. I guess when the show continues in, 30 seconds from now, you'll find out if I will have regretted it or not.
Yeah, after we do Postmon Pat.
Another hour of Postmon Pat! Yeah!
Yeah. We have, on Twitter, Wu Qinglong is glad that we both enjoyed Daipenmon, and wants to remind us that Daipenmon flies by flapping the popsicles in its hands. That
makes no sense.
It's cool, though.
Not only is it weird that it has the aerodynamics to be able to do that because they're icy poles anyway.
Yeah.
But also, it's a giant robot that's too heavy to fly.
Then First Agent Up says that Christmas poem in the dub is even sillier because it originally aired in the States in March. But it feels very Christmassy when she says, "Oh, Happy Christmas, good night." It feels very sort of Christmassy. But yeah, it would have aired in March. Then Anime Guy 01 says, if the new kids' Digimon do evolve in any other way rather than armor, what does Jay think they'll look like? And do you think Wormmon will also get an evolution?
I think that if they do it, they'll all do it. I think I already know what Vmon looks like, because it's in the intro, I think. It's the big blue horse dog thing with armor that's black. It's possible there's another armor evolution up, but I don't think so. I think Armor Evolution's its own thing, and then they'll have their own evolutions, because one of the show's biggest problems in 02 is that it feels really derivative of the original kids in a way that's not helpful, in a way that that really buries the new kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when every time their Digimon evolve, you see flashes of the old kids' Digimon, which says, look at the relation that they have. They're not independent at all. Hopefully, they'll gain some independence, and it'll make a lot more sense. I know that I've said that I want the old kids to be around, and I do, and I want them to have mentoring roles, but I also would like the new kids to be interesting and self-sufficient, especially going forward. We're 10 episodes in, this is when the old kids should start hanging back and fading away. They're not. In fact, they're becoming more heavily part of the story than ever, but at least in such a manner that maybe the new kids will have opportunities to be brave and heroic.
So when do you think the evolutions will start?
Honestly, they should have started really recently, but it seems like it's going to be a little while still. It'll probably be I want to say it's going to be the end of the arc, because the only way to beat a bad guy in your arc is to take your evolution one step higher.
Uh-huh.
And it would be really stupid if the kids did that by making their guys become regular adults, but it's probably what's going to happen.
Right. And do you think we'll see Wormon's evolution? I mean, I think in the WonderSwan game he is able to evolve further, but in these episodes, and this is in the Japanese version too, Ken seems to not know what Wormon would evolve into, which is incorrect, as Wormon does in one of the, I think it's Tag Tamers. He's able to evolve into his adult form, and so maybe Ken just doesn't remember because of the seed.
Yeah, that dark seed explains too much stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of convenient
It's
in
a
a way.
little bit convenient.
So do you think we'll see Wormon's evolution this season, or do you think it was only for the WonderSwan games?
I think we'll see his armor evolution at the very least, where he becomes a ninja. And that will be, of course, after. They'll either be after or right during his face turn when he becomes a good guy.
Right.
They won't evolve to fight the other kids. He will evolve, and I think he only can evolve in response to, because he's not going to get black ringed, because it would have already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll talk about that a bit more later, because Ken's motivation here is really interesting, I think anyway. So it can only really happen when he gets his Digimental and all that stuff.
Right.
But that said, armor evolution will be totally unnecessary when the Emperor is defeated. So that's also weird.
So what do you think the adult levels will look like for the Digimon? So what would Vmons look like?
Well, I already went over Vmon.
Right. Hawkmon?
You know what? Hawkmon feels like it would look like Garudamon, the big bird that what's it called? That Piedmon turns into. It makes more sense for him than it does for her. It's the right color scheme.
Well, there is an adult level that Hawkmon has, and in another season, this adult level actually evolves into Garudamon.
Oh, they got there. Yeah. I mean, it would make sense. You can't go directly in.
And actually, there's also in that series, Piedmon also evolves into the adult level of Hawkmon.
That must get really confusing because I feel like you could,
I'm nodding.
You could they could both turn into what's it call it? Into the adult level of Hawkmon, or both turn into Garudamon, and just kind of look at each other and be like, "This is awkward."
Well,
one of us is going to have to go home and change.
Well, Bergermon's not the most attractive one, I think.
No,
I think that it doesn't really fit. I've never thought that Bergermon fitted with Piedmon because it kind of just goes in a different direction and then goes back to.
I don't think either of them fit, honestly. I think they're three completely different styles. You have this pink bird that is reasonably cute, and then it turns into this big orange ugly bird, and then it turns into a brown dude with bird features.
And then it turns into a golden phoenix, which fits with Garudamon.
Yeah, it does, and as a step up, but the intervening steps generally make no sense. Whereas most of them, you can kind of see how they got there. Even Palmon, who is a plant and turns into a bigger plant. Yeah. Because, she's got the flower on her head, and she really could be anything. Yeah. It makes sense, and then, I don't know, I guess Lilymon's a bit weird, but...
Well, no, she comes out of the flower. Because she comes out of the top.
Yeah. You can at least make these logical connections, but just the birds are not stylistically similar enough to justify that at all.
I think Hawkmon suits Garudamon more, though.
Absolutely.
What about Armadillomon?
The thing with Armadillomon is that, he turned into a weird beetle with grills. And I feel like... But
wouldn't you say that that's more of the the fault of the Digimental to make it look like a beetle? Because if we think about...
We take the armor away.
Yeah, we think about Tentomon, and who is a beetle, so it's taking that knowledge, sort of beetle-y shape.
What I would think he would turn into would be, I don't know if you remember, the badger moles from Avatar: Last Airbender. They're the really giant half badger, half moles. Yeah. They're huge, and they dig, and they have earthbending powers. And I feel like they would probably turn into one of those. I know Armadillo would imply he maintains the general shape, but, I'm thinking more digging animal, and you're moving away from armor.
What about Wormon's adult level? And I guess Digimental if you think
Wormon
should, an adult.
To me, he should turn into a giant moth or something. He should take the Pokemon evolution thing for Weedle or Caterpie, because they're very similar. Except skip the cocoon, because you don't need it. You can evolve. That's it. If he just evolved into a tank that was just a cocoon and it was indestructible, that'd be hilarious. Be terrible, but hilarious.
So next we have Smile Wolfie on Tumblr, who wants to share a little headcanon that they have.
Well, please do.
So Smile Wolfie thinks that Iori once told Miyako that he had feelings for her, and
that's oddly specific.
In episode 5, his grandfather asks him if he has a girl that likes him, and Iori overacts a bit. Episode 8, he says to Miyako that he thought that she wasn't interested in younger guys, and because of this line that Smile Wolfie feels that he had told her that he liked her at one point, and she said, "Oh, but you're too young for me." It's also interesting when she says that age doesn't matter, and says her parents are 3 years apart, which coincidentally is also the age gap between Miyako and Iori. His reply to this sounds a bit heartbroken, like a little bit of a heartbroken sigh, and not to mention that the two were always together at the beginning of the show. Again, this is just a little headcanon of mine that I enjoy and wanted to share, even if it's unlikely to have happened. And I think I've heard of a few people in the fandom who think that was, like, he had a crush on her and she never returned it because she didn't really think of him as anything but someone who was too young for her.
I'm trying to... How much of that stuff was in English, or was it all in Japanese?
It was in Japanese, because in English, instead of him saying, "I thought you only dated people who you didn't like dating younger guys," he said, "Oh, Ken and Miyako, Ken and Yoli sitting in a tree."
So to me,
it's Japanese.
I mean, I can't. It doesn't occur to... Iori is what, 10?
He's 9.
He's 9. I can't fathom a 9-year-old, and this implies a history as well, so he might have even been 8 at the time that this headcanon happens. I can't fathom them being in that mindset. You're 8 or you're 9-year-old asking someone out, getting rejected, and handling... Like, first of all, it happening at all, and B, like, handling it well. I just get the feeling, like, are they neighbours?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're neighbours. They're really good friends. He knows her really well. I feel like that makes a lot more sense, because I don't see Iori to be that guy, because he's 9.
Right.
And I don't know what that says. Maybe age is just a number. But no, it's your headcanon. You can think what you want, but I think we come. It is a show that's aimed at a younger audience, and we come into it with an older mindset. So romance is something that we consider a lot more strongly than I think. Obviously, the show intends, and in this case, especially with someone under 10, and it's between 11-year-olds on an even playing field, or say 13-year-olds later, or whatever they are in this, and especially in Try, it makes a lot of sense, especially in Try, because they're 18. That's the age. But yeah, 8 or 9, it's too. I think it makes me kind of uncomfortable, honestly, to really consider that. You're just a tiny baby.
And speaking of uncomfortable, the next message on Tumblr is from Anonymon, and they say, actually, Jun is 6 years older than Daisuke. She's 17 and 02, making her obsession with Yamato extra creepy. The big age difference probably explains why they don't get along.
Wait, if she's 17 and 02, he's not still 11?
No, Daisuke, 6 years older than Daisuke, so...
Oh, then Daisuke, right.
And Yamato's 14, so that's still like...
3 years.
I know, but, when I was 17, 14-year-olds were that was a huge age difference, because when I was that age. I
know, but from my perspective, when I was in high school, dating upwards was seen as something amazing. It's something more when you look back at it, but that's what it was. And then if dating down was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, because she's 17, she should be wanting to fangirl over boys her age.
But that's fine, because he's got this thing going on. The fact that he's reacting really negatively to it, I still don't really get. Maybe he doesn't really like her so much, but just don't be it's a huge level. Just be okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Otherwise, I don't know. She's not the worst.
Next, Anonymon says, I wanted to ask you guys what you would think if the series had the same format as the original. What if the new kids plus TK and Kari were brought to the digital world with no connection to the real world and had to survive through hardships and do a lot of walking in the desert, as you like a lot, don't you, Jay?
Oh,
it could give more opportunities for character interactions and bonding between Digimon partners. Also, what does Jay think of Ken having an original Digivice, as we saw on the WonderSwan games? Do you think he was meant to be part of the original group?
It's hard to judge what you mean by meant to be part of the original group. They were saying we make a second season of Digimon, and they draw up your 4 new characters, and they say, well, they're going to be the same age, so you chuck in Kari and Tai, and there's
Kari and
TK. And then just some smart ass in the office goes, what if that guy was evil? I could see that. Honestly, I don't know, it's hard to say, especially because you've got lots of different scripts over lots of different mediums. I'm going to say that I assume that he was always separate. He just doesn't have the design that fits with everyone. Because even if you did design them all together,
Iori and Ken look the same. When Ken's got his like his slick hair,
Yeah.
they're very similar. So, I mean, obviously they're not the same, but they're not super distinct like your Daisuke and your Lee. It's weird combining languages. The other part of that question, I'm trying to remember it.
It was about the format.
Right? Yeah, I
more
thought this
closely
was
to the
a
original.
more interesting question, and the answer is, on one hand, obviously, I would, you know, preferences are difficult to judge because sometimes you like one thing, sometimes you like another. So right now, even though I complained a lot about that format at the time, I think if you wrote it well as like a mirror, a send up to the first season, it makes a lot of sense. It could be really interesting because you do get your times. You've got the isolation, which lets the characters bond. You've got a lot more imminent danger. The thing with season 1 was that the kids were always in danger. They go to sleep, they could be attacked. They go anywhere, they could be attacked. Nowadays, they go and they do the mission, then they go home, and they go to sleep, and then they go to school, and the tension kind of goes away. And you could get away with this because you have two characters who were there before. So, and that I think would justify you having Davis be this awful tie, because he would put himself in the leader position, and then you've got TK and Kari saying, "We've done this before. We know what we're doing. Yeah, we've been depowered for whatever reason, but we have a lot of experience. We understand this stuff. Listen to us." And they have their push back and forth. The other kids, they try to get their own identities, and they form their own bonds. I think that'd be really interesting, and that means that they could escape the digital world early, say halfway through the season, and at that point you introduce the old kids, and it's a huge nostalgia rush. Because, there are 4 kids you haven't seen, 6 kids you haven't seen in a really long time, and you miss them a lot. Maybe on the way, these kids who are trapped in the digital world and the other kids who can't get in, they meet the other kids as Digimons, and they're like, oh, Daisuke meets Agumon, who mentions Tai. He has a big fanboy freakout. It'd be really nice. I think there's a lot of potential in that idea as a tribute to the first season, because one of my big problems with the season is how it feels like it doesn't care that the first one happened, because it has all these tools that could be used to make this one interesting, and I don't think it uses them a lot. It does one thing really well, and that's the Digimon Kaiser. And I say really well because the last couple episodes really characterize him, and I'm starting to get it more and more. But I think that characterizing your main team, they've not done a very good job. Your 2 strongest characters are TK and Kari, and because we already knew them.
I like Miyako.
You like her, but she's not good. Especially in English in the second episode today.
Oh yes, definitely.
And Davis is the most characterized after them, and he's awful. And he's doubly awful because he's a reference to Tai, who's worse than Tai ever was. And Tai didn't start out nicely. He didn't start out great.
So he's basically Tai before all the character development and worse.
Yeah, and doesn't that sound exciting?
I think a lot of people agree with you there, because I've heard that being a thing in the fandom, that people don't like Daisuke. I like Daisuke. I think even though he's older than Tai was in the first season, he is even more impulsive, and he's immature, and he's kind of very hot-headed. So in a way, he's kind of like how Matt was kind of hot-headed.
I never felt that way about Matt necessarily. I felt that Matt made terrible decisions, but he never did them in a super hot-headed way. They were always kind of cold. He always thought they were good ideas, and they turned out to be really stupid.
Yeah, but he tried.
He tried badly. So on With the Will, you got some messages. The first one is from Kunicho, and they say that in episodes 4 and 6, the Dark Towers only have to have partial damage in order for the Digimon to be able to evolve, but they still power the evil rings. So it can be assumed, or perhaps presumed, that the child level damages to the tower, and the adult level destroys it. That's possible. I think if Daisuke showed any hesitation to bow to Kaiser, it might have meant that Daisuke is too prideful. He doesn't give a crap about dignity or pride, especially when it comes to his friends' lives. Bowing doesn't mean anything to Daisuke. If bowing to Kaiser is all he has to do, he would not even have to think about it. Just do it. It doesn't mean he gave up, and maybe how the scene was presented. It was also obvious that the Kaiser controlled the whole situation. And I agree. I think that's interesting, but I don't think. I think that's a subtle point, and I don't think that was a subtle scene. If that makes sense. I know I'm interpreting both what happened in the show and what you said, but I think it's fair to say that if that's what it was, if it totally doesn't matter, then okay. The thing about Daisuke is if you say if he's not a prideful person, the rest of the episode was all about his pride. It was right, this what's we call it? This Ken kid is so good at soccer. Well, I haven't faced him on the field. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to become a legend. And, he tackles him down. He feels amazing. And he's really proud of himself. And he goes on, and especially in English, he goes on about himself constantly when talking to this Ken kid. And so he's all pride all the time. It makes no sense for this character to just instantly do it. It would be this amazing character moment for him to think, like, I'm not going to do it, or I don't want to do it, or to just say, I need to swallow my pride. It's important. It is very important for my friends' lives that I do this thing that is anathema to me. But instead he just kind of does it, and there's something to be said about show don't tell, obviously, but I don't think they showed us anything, and you can read into it to be more comfortable, but I don't think it does the show any credit to do that. It just makes it more comfortable. We got another from Vexmeth, who says, it's too bad that Jay isn't really enjoying the season so far. Which, to be fair, I'm enjoying it a lot more in the last few episodes. They got way, way, way better.
Well, I think that's because it's the same with last Digimon season as well, but I think it's a bit faster than last season. Where, we have the setup episodes where they're not necessarily the most interesting episodes, but they sort of give us sort of the mechanics, and we are introduced as the characters, and we get a few evolutions, and we know what's happening and why they need to save the world.
Well, the thing is, what I really like about any given Digimon episode, and I think the ones that, by and large, I can say were really positive, but ones at the end of the day, I could tell you something really happened in this episode. And I've said it 1,000 times, but if it's a big flashy fight was your episode, then nothing happened. So that's usually not good. And season 1 had a huge problem with that because
that was basically
it was explore a place and have a big flashy fight, and they eventually learned how to do both.
Like in Flower Power, which was fight, but the main part was the plot in the background.
Yeah.
And playing games was like there was a tiny little fight, but then the real plot was surrounding it.
And I understand it's difficult to do when the plot hadn't really come in yet at the beginning, but I think that you could have at least made survival more interesting than
walking through the desert.
Walking through the desert and occasionally finding vending machines.
With Numamon.
Okay, so they go on to say that that's to be expected, and it gets better. And they really like
the stills in the logo. I think he's talking about.
Basically, every face that Dice came out. Yeah, May puts a good deal of effort into finding the best pictures.
Yeah.
It does a really good job. Sometimes I suggest some, like Yoli squeezing pink wing ball. Is what I call it.
And Digmon's face after firing drills at Airdramon, they just sort of fell off. And he's like, "Oh."
It's just pure disappointment. Face Make Feels on say that in the sub, though, they liked how everyone said "save the others" when they were tied up, except Iori, who said, "Don't worry, Daisuke will accept your choice." It should be so he's thinking of Daisuke, and also just sounds like he doesn't want to die. I didn't get that. I didn't take that away from that scene, but that's alright. Might discuss it a little bit. Not that it matters since they were Bakemon after all. Digimon Kaiser was smoking all the way down was amazing, and actually I think the scene is really weird. And obviously it's good for the kids to say, pick me. No, don't pick someone else. Don't pick me, etc. But if you wanted to make the situation really desperate from the Kaiser's perspective, wouldn't you have the imposters completely embarrass themselves to make it seem really hopeless?
Well, Yoli's I say Yoli because I'm talking about the dub, is quite annoying. But I guess that's just how they write her character.
It's hard to trust character lines in the dub.
Yeah,
it's really difficult. But when Iori says, "Don't worry, Daisuke, we'll accept your choice," I think that strikes me less that he wants to be the one saved, and more along the lines of like his training with his grandfather, where he's got an inner peace to it, where he's not talking about saving people, he's just like understanding and accepting. But I talked about before, where reading into it really deeply doesn't do the show any favors. But I don't think I don't feel like that came off as desperate and wanting to be saved. Further, we got an email from SP, or is it SPA? I never know.
SP SPA.
It's SPA.
SPA.
They said that they really liked the episode. I imagine our episode.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And mostly because Jay's rating started going up, and it happens. There's a lot of stuff about this show I haven't really liked, and I've been very, very vocal about that on this show. You understand that? I've said it a lot. But when the show does well, I say it like it is, and it gets the ratings it deserves. I don't think I knock down ratings because this is Digimon. In fact, I think they go way higher because this is Digimon, and it's in its own little realm where, a 10 in Digimon is not a 10 in Fargo. It is not a 10 in Kill la Kill. It is not a 10 in Gurren Lagann or other shows. Yeah, Fargo and Gurren Lagann are basically the same show. But within its own realm, I think I'm pretty fair. I like to think so. I don't like the same stuff that everyone else does, but I think I'm fair.
Do you think we'll ever get a higher than a 10 out of 10, like an actual
one that
flips to a normal scale?
I will never. No, I will. I don't think it'll ever be a situation. Because the thing that flipping to a normal scale, quote unquote, would be the whole season is excellent, and the big problem with that is you got 50 episodes. There's just not a show will run dry of ideas in 50 episodes. It can't be done. I don't think it's not healthy for a show to go this long, and because it's not tight. If you want a really solid story, it's not good to happen over such a long period of time in so many episodes. But either way, they say that in season 1, the first episode was rated 7 and 8. I think the first episode that was rated 7 and 8 wasn't until halfway through. Although they suspect it doesn't have to do with the individual characters, but with the way the plot is presented. Further, they think that in the next 2 episodes, Jay is going to hopefully rate them even higher. As for the Darkspawn and the Kaiser, when I talked about the motives, they meant that the kid maybe has to be vulnerable to corruption for some reason. And they asked, do you think that, for instance, that a happy-go-lucky kid would become as evil as Ken with the Darkspawn? In other words, do you think that Ken has a bad backstory, like the games, or he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time? Do you think that? So I think do you think the Darkspawn would get anybody, or does it have to be someone who had a bad time?
I think it hits anyone.
Yeah, I'd like to. Well,
because it was going to hit Rio, but Ken got in the way.
I like to think that, and it's the reason I say this is because I had that theory about the crest of friendship. I like to think, purity, I guess, works as well, but it makes a lot less sense in English. And it would make sense because they like to give crests to people of the same sex / whatever. So. I like to think it hits anybody, and what it does is it takes the thing that's best about you, or I guess whatever crest you would otherwise have, but basically it takes your best trait and inverts it. So in the sense of Ken, who I think has friendship, it makes him completely reject friendship, want to be alone, he wants to go to the digital world, he wants to control everybody, because that's the opposite of what friendship is. Instead of... But although to be evil, instead of just being lonely and alone, it's about controlling everybody, making them all singular, and basically making them extensions of himself. They say that they're curious to see what. Do you agree?
But what? Yeah.
I guess some of that is.
Well, I can't say too much because it's bits of haven't been seen yet.
Too much of it is predicting the future.
Yeah.
They're also curious to see my reaction to Ken's Digivice evolving another Digimon. I did have a reaction. I kind of talked about it with May a bit off the show, unfortunately, which we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But she's been around a lot more. And I guess I will talk about it a little bit. In fact, I'll talk about it now. I think it's really weird. And I get it, because his Digivice deals with the rings, not with the Digimon themselves. But I kind of don't like it, because obviously the Digivice's Digivolving people should be unique. And what this implies is that it should work on everybody, not just part of Digimon. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it would work on anyone who has a dark ring, because that's what...
so it makes no sense that he would need Agumon for this, then.
But maybe he also wants to take control of a Digimon that it has an owner.
That does make sense. But...
And that he knows can become perfect. Like, I think that if he grabbed just any Digimon, he wouldn't be able to evolve it, because it's not able to go to perfect. But Greymon
Do
cannibal
most Digimon
perfect.
not, are most Digimon not able to do that?
I think I've explained it before that they have to, in the wild, endure extreme hardships.
Yeah, no, but now there's a Digivice pushing them, which is all it really takes.
Yeah, but I think it's easier that Agumon has already gotten to his
Maybe.
level.
Well, since he's doing the whole experiments, I think he would try.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be nice to see it. And I think the Daisuke's improved a bit. I don't think so. I think he's the same. And especially because in English he's just obsessing over his hair.
But in the original he's fine.
I wouldn't call him fine. I would call him the same. I don't see a lot, but I don't think it focuses on him as much. So it's entirely possible. They think, and lastly, they liked Iori's reaction to the reveal of the Kaiser's identity because he's told to respect his elders. Also, the new kids don't want to fight a human kid, and these episodes show the difference of between Takeru and Hikari versus the rest of them when it comes to fighting, which is really interesting. I would really like to see more emphasis on those kids' experience and how much more combat. They're basically combat veterans, and they should be much better at this.
So now we have a suggestion for I Will Show You DigiWorld, which comes from La Monstero, which I'm probably mispronouncing, on Tumblr. And they told us about a show that aired in Brazil at the start of, I think it was early 2000s. It's an obvious rip-off of Digimon. And it's only had one episode, which I've also found on YouTube with English subs, so maybe we'll watch that at a later date. We just sort of flipped through bits and pieces. Maybe. One day, maybe. So it's called Dogmons. Yeah, so it was originally going to have, a full season, but they only wrote a script for 3 episodes, and out of those 3 episodes, 1 was actually put on TV. All the monsters seem to be versions of dogs. Like, there's Green Dog, which is the main character, who's a green
What's
dog.
it called? Green Dog?
Yeah, and that evolves into Drago Dog. And then there's a little floating bee called Bee Dog, and there's an evil wizard called Wiz Dog. And there's like robo-dogs and stuff.
Okay, so I think we watched the intro, it's pretty funny.
Had a costume of Bee-Dog.
You got your 3 kids, and it's bee-dogs and whatever, and it's Dogmon, and the song's not even terrible, but the animation's awful.
Yeah, it looks like someone's animating from MS Paint.
Then we glanced at the episode, we just kind of skipped to different bits of it, and this is what I was talking about on different scales before. If I had to rate Dogmon episodes, if, say, there was more than one, in comparison, every Digimon episode is a 10 or higher. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. I kept asking, mate, did you find this on Newgrounds from 10 years ago?
It felt very sort of fan-made, but it was actually aired, and they had several common children's TV show voice actors in it.
Look, May
apparently.
really loves dogs, and I'm almost convinced that May made this when she was 12.
Maybe.
She's like, yeah, Wiz Dog!
Bee-Dog.
The main character is Green Dog!
and then Bee-Dog evolves into something that's a little bit sexy, I guess.
It's like some kind of weird Renamon mixed with a bee.
Yeah.
And it talks, and it has a mouth which is open, it has a tongue inside, and it doesn't move.
It just sort of floats across the screen when it moves.
It does that the very occasionally when you get the bad animation where they just slide the figure across without animation, except everyone at the show does that.
Yeah. And they have really strange facial expressions when they're, idle. And they just sort of do, and they've got, their eyes, sort of half open.
Also, they keep throwing in this weird 3D animation, which doesn't fit at all.
In the background, of the evolution of Green Dog to Drago Dog.
Green Dog! Green Dog!
Yeah, thank you for showing us that. I would like to cover the first episode of Dogmon one day, because I think that would be an event. But yeah, we just sort of skipped through bits and pieces of it. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting us witness that.
Get ready for a special episode Lost in Translation Dog.
Oh my god.
Which it was, because a lot of the subtitles were bad.
Yeah, but I think that might have actually been YouTube subtitles, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know. The subtitles were not the best subtitles I've
Does
seen.
the will they get out of there alive?
If you want to contact us, we have a Gmail, LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com. We have a Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. We have a thread on With the Will. We probably have a thread on Reddit. I've been trying to put each episode up individually as I upload them. And you can comment on this episode on SoundCloud. You can message us on SoundCloud. And it'd be super cool if you reviewed us on iTunes or Stitcher. And maybe we'll review Dogmons if you love us. And also, if you're a patron, you can talk to us in the IRC, which I will get Jay to log on. We've just been super busy with like Christmas and New Year's and parties and stuff.
It's been like 3 weeks. You never linked it to me.
I think I did. I think you just lost track of it. And yeah, so on to the episodes. Something annoys me at the start of this. In the original version, we see screentime on the title card, which completely removes, in my opinion, any suspense for, Greymon's going to evolve into MetalGreymon. Like, it already shows us ahead of time that Ken's plan doesn't work, and that Greymon doesn't evolve to MetalGreymon, he evolves to screentime. So I think that sort of ruins the experience a bit.
You can't see how wide I'm smiling, because this is the point I make every time this happens, and finally you're doing it.
Yeah, I think that it just ruins a lot of suspense, and I remember when I watched this as a kid, and obviously there was no hint of screentime being in this episode, and I was just like, oh, not MetalGreymon. I mean, we get to see him in the next episode, but sort of it's more of a build-up. But we see that Ken's plan doesn't work, and he needs to learn from it. But when I saw that in the title card, I was like, I think I preferred the way I saw it as a kid, where I was like, oh my gosh, screentime back. It's like this shock guest appearance of a character we haven't seen since the first season.
There's more in this season than the last one.
Oh yeah, he shows up in 2 episodes, I think. He was just flashbacks before. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, and also Yoli's really annoying in the dub opening.
Yeah, she's not great.
Yeah, she just fangirls about Ken, like, oh, my lover boy, he's so perfect and cool, but then I found out he was evil, oh no.
I found that Yoli is really weird when she gives when she does the last times on, because she doesn't sound like she was there. Yeah,
she always sounds like she was told.
She talks like she doesn't know what happened. It's like, we did this, and then we were tied up, but then we arrived. Like we the group were all tied up, and then we showed up and it turned out we weren't tied up. It was ghosts. Why would she say things like we were tied up?
But some of the last time ons are a bit, hey, how you going?
Good, how you going?
Yeah. So we see Ken, and he's upset, and he kicks poor Wormmon, and the contact is removed in the dub, but it's, he kicks his pet.
He kicked the puppy once. Honestly, that was worse.
Yeah, but that was completely removed, like in the dub.
It was much worse.
Yeah.
Wormmon's a Digimon. I can take it.
So Kenmon is in this interview, and he still seems kind of sarcastic and a bit sort of like smug, I think is a better word than sarcastic. But in the dub, they just make him even more, and he's like doing all these like sarcastic and smart aleck comments.
In Japanese, it sounds like he's giving legitimate answers which are toned with smugness. Whereas in English, if everyone wasn't love struck with him, someone would have punched him by now.
Yeah, like it seems like a kid that my mum would say, he's what a smart aleck, and then she'd say, don't trust him, he's being a smart ass.
He doesn't seem genuine at all, and the fact that the interviewer asks him more than one question, which isn't why you're such an awful person, is a mystery.
But yeah, and he's also like, but there's a line that's the same. It's like, so I hear that it's 1% talent and 99% hard work, and it's kept in both versions, which is fine. But instead of Ken saying, I'd say that, he says, mine's 2%. So it's like he's making all these smarmy comments.
Yeah, because in Japanese he's mostly, I wouldn't say evasive, but he mostly answers questions with like, yeah, it's about right.
Yeah, or I guess you could say that.
But in English he talks himself up, and he's super annoying. But that's always how he's been. He's just been much more abrasive.
Yeah. And then there's a guy, and he comes up and he's like, can you tutor my daughter? And Ken says, no, I can't. Yeah.
The way he says it, he leans in and he kind of whispers it. I was like, is he saying tutor, or is he trying to set them up?
I think he's just a bit embarrassed, like he doesn't want to get caught by the presenter or something. I don't know. But Ken says no because he's too young and inexperienced. But instead, like he's asking in the dub, he's asking Ken for gaming secrets, and Ken offers to come over, but then says, unless, of course, you realise you're too old to be playing video games. And then the guy says, oh yeah, of course, I'm too old, I forget how old I am. And then he talks about how he's getting a new joystick.
Was it Donkey Panic?
Donkey Madness.
Donkey Madness.
Yeah, and they mentioned that in the last episode, like one of the last episodes as well, when he was on the TV. So they try to make him like this star video game player as well. So then
You can also play a game of chess while 20 people watch.
And balance the world's largest checkbook. So then we see the children, and they're watching the thing, and Hikari says, well, no, not Hikari, Kari in the dub says, oh, he seems so nice, and like, no he doesn't. Especially not in the dub. No, he does not sound nice.
It's especially weird because, like, someone seeming nice is not the same as them being a nice person. And she should have the presence of mind to say, he seems nice, he's probably lying.
Yeah.
Or he's probably not being genuine, what with him enslaving thousands of Digimon and putting them in fighting pits.
So Miyako brings food as always, and all the baby Digimon are very excited, except for Poromon, who only wants Iori's mum's cup on Maki, I think it's called.
Kanpon Miyaki?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
Kanpon Maki? No.
Yeah. The seaweed rice thing.
The sushi.
No, it's not sushi, because sushi usually has fish. It doesn't have
The
fish.
dub
in it.
sushi.
It's called dub sushi, yeah. But this is just Poromon saying,
What
oh no,
are the
I'm not
brownies?
hungry. No, that's Ohagi.
Okay.
Then Izzy says to Davis, don't get your knickers in a twist. And Davis says, what are knickers?
That's legit.
And then someone's pointing at, I think it's Kari's pointing at the screen, and Izzy says, you smudged my screen. And then they keep on talking about Donkey Madness some more.
It's always weird when you hit this point, because it's like the dub writers don't know what to say.
Yeah, they're just filling like bits, but they're actually talking about plot relevant things with stupid lines.
Sometimes they put stupid lines in, but it's relevant to what's happening. And sometimes they've just gone, yeah, we don't know what to say. We've got 6 lines and the kids' mouths are moving, but we've got nothing. Donkey Madness.
Speaking of which, one of my favourite lines in this episode.
Who would think that such a normal-looking boy could be the Digimon Emperor?
His smile makes him look so gentle.
Yeah, but his haircut makes him look like you, Kari.
That was relevant. Thanks, TK.
No, but everything there, like what he looks like, isn't relevant at all.
Yeah, but instead they're talking about how he's skilled in sport and he's skilled in school as well.
All I want them to talk about is how he changes his hair and puts on glasses that makes him unrecognizable.
Yeah.
It's like Superman. Just curl the front of your hair and take your glasses off. Now, who are you? Who knows? It could be anybody.
So then we see that Ken's parents have found a note, and it's just moved. It didn't sound like a suicide note.
It sounded exactly like a suicide note.
And it sort of explains why the dad seems very frantic and the mum bursts into tears, because he's basically saying, goodbye, cruel world.
Right before this, actually, there's a scene when he gets back from the interview, and he goes out on the balcony, and I think he yells to basically the crowd of people
Insects.
below. Insects.
Yeah.
Is what he called them. And I think that I would say it's subtle. It's not that subtle. If you called them worms, it would be not subtle at all. But it shows a lot about where he's coming from, and
why he hates Wormmon.
And why he hates definitely why he hates Wormmon, exactly. If I didn't know about the Dark Seed thing, this is the first time I'd be able to say, I kind of understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he has contempt for everyone around him. Because he doesn't feel like they're real people. So, he being above everybody, he doesn't... It would make sense, if not for the Dark Seed thing, that his morals would be way out there.
But yeah, what I got from this is that... I'm not sure if they were trying to imply that it was a suicide note. I doubt it, because it's a kid's show.
Yeah.
But it definitely... Like, looking through an adult's eyes, if I saw that letter, I wouldn't think that person's run away. I'd think, oh god, that person's killed himself. And, yeah, but this is more of a like, oh, I'm running away from home sort of letter in the dub. And the dad immediately says, oh, he ran away. Instead of saying, oh, what's this? And, like, the mum says, oh, what did we do wrong to make him run away? Instead of, like, them being very confused and not sure what's happened. So, the children have worked out that Ken is going to live on the digital world forever, so they go to the digital world. And here's something that I think is... I thought it was an animation error, but then I went back into the Japanese version and noticed that the dubbers had just cut this part weirdly. So Davis says Digiport open, and we immediately see Cody's D3 held against the screen. And this is because they all hold up their D3s, and we see Iori lift his D3 to their computer, and Miyako says, Digiport open. So the dub is sort of moved around the clips in a sort of weird way, and I guess they just thought that was Davis's D3, but it looked very weird, like they'd almost like miscoloured the
You
D3.
could have thought that, or alternatively, they didn't care as long as their main character said the phrase.
And instead of, Yoli saying Digiport open, she says, let's go get that cute evil guy, or whatever she says.
What a great line. What a strong female character.
Like, instead of her
Who
being
don't
a
need
leader,
no man.
like, she's definitely more of a leader in the originals. Like, she says, alright, Digiport open! Instead of, let's go get that evil cute guy.
Isn't it Chosen Children, Let's Roll?
No, but if she said that in the dub, it would be Digiport open.
If you straight translate.
Yeah. So Wormon's happy that Ken's coming to the DigiWorld forever because he's snuggling up to his foot and being adorable.
He gives me this weird, like, battered housewife feel.
Yeah, definitely. He is an abused partner who's just all like, oh, I love you. I love you, I do. Like, he's very clingy in a way and sort of saying, oh, maybe if I love him a lot and I show him how much I love him, then he's not going to kick me again. And I'm pretty sure he immediately he immediately kicks him.
Yeah, that was earlier in the thing. And so the kids land, and basically Merimon show up, and I'm just like, oh, the formula happened again. The formula of just, pick an old enemy that you fought in Season 1, and then put 5 of them on the screen.
Yeah.
Because that's how you make the new kids look strong, by putting the exact same challenges that the other kids faced, but with less story context, and there's more of them. And for a while there, I really thought it had just disintegrated into that, and I was not amazingly happy with it. And the episode pulls itself back really hard, which is nice.
Also,
from the big schmoz.
Some things. So there are a few things that annoy me in this episode. So I'll go through them as we talk about them. But first of all, Hikari says, "Oh look, it's Merimon," and I'm not entirely sure she's ever seen a Merimon before.
No, she wasn't there.
Yeah, but she said that in this episode.
No, that was a Centaur, wasn't it?
That was
in the
Centaur.
photo at the end.
No, that was Centaur.
There was no Merimon there.
Yeah, there was no Merimon. So I'm pretty sure she'd never seen a Merimon before. Then they immediately throw fire at the fire, and then they blow wind at the fire, and that grows, and yay, Airdramon shows up, and they put a dark ring on Greymon.
Wait, no, she's seen them, because they were in Tokyo when she was there. Because she can see Digimon when they're invisible.
I don't think there was Merimon there, there was Ogmon.
Well,
It was Ogmon and Tyrannomon.
At some point there was an evolved Merimon.
That was Skull Merimon, but that was before we knew she was the 8th child. That was Sora and Mimi's episode.
That's true.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when they were hunting for the 8th child. So she's never actually seen a Merimon. Maybe Ty told her about it, I don't know. But so they decide that rocks might actually help fight the Merimon. And I also just realised that Digmon's evolution has drool sound effects through it, and it's really cute. So, can we talk about what the Merimon fall into? Because I'm not entirely sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's water, or fire, or, like, lava.
There is lava around.
But what they fall into, like, I would think that if it was water, they would just steam up and
die instantly.
Yeah, or at least, weaken. But they don't appear to be weakened. But it doesn't seem to be the right consistency for lava, because it seems the consistency of water.
Well,
Is it just hot water? But that would still make them go.
It's definitely lava, right? Because of the way the fight goes later when the Tyrannomon show up, the Dark Tyrannomon show up. Those guys get murdered and they get lavaed and they are dead. So it is entirely possible that the animators just don't know the consistency of lava. Yeah,
because it just feels like it sort of looks like water floppy and stuff. I like when Tekuru says Digimental up because he always seems so happy. And Tailmon just seems so uninterested when she evolves. She's like, Tailmon, Ama Shinka. Like, she just sounds super bored.
What I did like about this fight, and something I'd really like to happen more often, is that when they use their moves, the example here is Holzamon does his tornado thing in the Merimon, and he's adding oxygen to them, so their flames are getting higher and stronger. I like that kind of realism in, like, you have to think about how the fight's going. You can't just throw your moves at the other guy, because it might not always work.
Especially putting fire on the fire, that's dumb.
Yeah, so the fact that, if you had, Flamedramon, it's both.
Flamedramon or Flamedramon.
Throwing fire at a Merimon, like, why would you even bother? Why would you ever do that? Go and punch them. And
wind is more questionable, like, you'd think that it blows it out. But, as we know from bushfires in Australia, wind makes it worse. But then, so Ken evolves Greymon, but instead of becoming MetalGreymon, it becomes SkullGreymon.
Well, it has the black ring at first.
Yep, and he already did that.
I don't think we mentioned it.
No, but we did. But I was more interested that Airdramon showed up, so I mentioned them more. Because he's on the Airdramon when he Black Swing Greymon.
Right.
Yeah.
You like Airdramon too much.
No, I just think they're really cool. Shut up. So again, Hikari says, oh, "That's SkullGreymon."
Well, actually, the thing is that I think I'm wrong in my first watching of it, because my first watching, Ken holds up his Digivice, says Dark Evolution, and he evolves into SkullGreymon. So my first watching, I thought that process of becoming SkullGreymon was called a Dark Evolution.
It is.
So I was confused when Ken looked surprised, because he's doing a specific type of evolution which turns into this. So when he sees this, why is he weirded out that he got what he wanted?
Well, he did say MetalGreymon earlier.
Yeah, so...
But I think since he's evolving through the Dark Rings, that's why he's calling it a Dark Evolution.
Yeah, so I think it's just his Digivice does that because it's a dark one.
Yeah.
But I thought that, the Digivolving into SkullGreymon was that term specifically, so it was all intended. I think since talking to you about it, I think I was wrong, but that was the first way I took that.
Yeah.
I don't think the show adequately sets up that that's not the case.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hikari also knows about SkullGreymon, so I guess Tai told her, but I don't know, she seems like that she's met him before, even though she hasn't, I think. Because SkullGreymon showed up in one episode, and that was...
Yeah, she would never
that was like 10 episodes. Like 20 episodes before Hikari showed up.
So Hikari watched season 1.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's how she knows all these Digimon she's never seen before. She just went back and watched the DVDs. Don't worry about it.
So you told me something about the angel. You said Pegasusmon being sassy, and I also have Pegasusmon being sassy, but I haven't written any context for what he said.
I'm just going my notes that Angel Horse is sassy.
I think he says something along the lines of like, we should get out of the way unless you want to die, because that'd be fine too, I guess. It was something along the lines of that. So SkullGreymon destroys the Dark Tower, which is great. Thanks, I guess. And Daisuke says, "What's that? What's happening?" Because it's like he's on the bad side. What is he doing? But because of the dub, doesn't want to have any thing that is too serious. Davis says, "Man, I should put on my goggles."
Davis obsesses about his goggles in these couple episodes. He talks about them again next time in a phrase that made no sense, which I guess we'll talk about. But yeah, he talks about his goggles and his hair a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah, that part. But that was because they didn't want to have any cultural things. So then Ken calls a horde of Dark Tyrannomon, and for some reason in the dub Cody identifies them, and he talks with the Digimon Analyzer.
He's got the thing of knowledge.
Yeah, but he
knows everything. He
says, "Oh, this is a Tyrannomon who was infected by a computer virus," and I was like, "Well, that's correct, but how do you know?" So I guess they're trying to put him with the Izzy Tentamon always doing the Digimon Analyzer thing.
How does Kari know anything?
At least Tai could have told Kari. Then Kari says this gold, which is, why can't we ever fight something short?
Forgot about that.
Yeah. And then I'm still confused about the consistency of whatever the water fire is.
Well, I think it becomes clear because they're sort of floating and they're really slowly sinking into it that the Tyrannomon just gets super murdered.
I don't think they can swim.
Well, no, but it's face down in lava and just slowly sinking. That's dead. They killed that thing. It's gone now. Pegasusmon is very sassy.
So SkullGreymon gets tired and evolves, and Airdramon picks Agumon up. The children don't realise that it was Tai's Agumon. They thought it was a SkullGreymon, or just a random Greymon. And then they say, "Oh, that's Tai's Agumon."
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't go get Agumon before the Airdramon squadron showed up. But I guess it makes more sense.
I don't think they expected it.
And then they look at the screen, and everything kind of goes black. Well, more than half of it goes black, and they go, "Well, the Digimon Emperor now controls all the bits that Agumon was protecting." But that's an unofficial thing that he's doing. He's just kind of in the area. The Dark Towers didn't just regrow overnight, or in a second.
Maybe they're just
It's completely confusing. I have no idea what was going on there.
So what did you think of this episode as someone who was new to Digimon?
I thought it was fine. It had its 5 minutes of fighting, but at least even then they kind of added some extra complexity to it. It was a big setup for the next episode, which is to say, you're taking Agumon and getting the black ring on him. Ken moving into the digital world full time to be which does two things. It makes him a more credible threat because now the nighttime restriction doesn't apply to him, and also it means he's safe from the kids going to school and beating him up. Which, to be honest, would have been the most because that's what has to happen. If you find out that the kids where he lives and they know where he lives, like the immediate solution if he doesn't leave is to go and beat him up, which I think would be really funny. But I'm kind of glad they didn't go that way because it makes the villain look stronger this way. Obviously, this was pretty good because it was set up for the next one. Very obviously, it
was a good setup though. It wasn't just filler setup.
Absolutely.
So, what did you think in comparison to what you thought about it in Obnoxious Synopsis?
So I thought that the new home implied that it implied that he just should have changed bases. I think I entertained the possibility.
Yeah, you said that it wouldn't suit the character for him to move permanently to the digital world.
Yeah, I say that, but now that I've thought about it more, as I just kind of reasoned out there, that it actually does make sense that he permanently moved over, because now the real world is weakness, and also it justifies it within this episode that he has no respect for anybody in the real world, so he just goes where he feels more comfortable. It says it forces, obviously forces the Digimon to evolve the Dark Rings, and it does. And in a very specific way as well, which is interesting because I don't know. I guess I didn't think about how weird it would be for someone else to evolve a partner Digimon that wasn't the original kid. But now that I've seen it, it kind of makes sense. I said the title to your main character, which I don't think he really was.
Not in this episode, no.
He does. He is in the next one though, so I'm not gonna totally say I don't get credit for it. And it's I said it was a 7 out of 10, which is accurate. I would stick with that.
Cool. But you said you were also ready for disappointment.
I was very ready to be disappointed, and there was a moment when the Meramon showed up, just this random horde of firemen, where I said, "Oh no, it's happening! The disappointment has arrived," and it didn't. And that was really nice. Just to backtrack, so we talked about how Wormmon acted like a battered housewife a little bit.
Yep.
That's in Japanese, and in Japanese he's like, "Oh, please don't hit me. Just you can be nice and stuff like that, or let's just let's go out for ice cream and just whatever it was." In the English, he says, "Why don't we go capture some Digimon and make their life a living hell?"
Yeah, I noticed that.
And he didn't sound sarcastic.
He sounded like he wanted to make them miserable.
Yeah, so Wormmon is just evil in English.
Or at least he's trying to be evil to make Ken happy, which is what I think it's meant to be.
Well, if that's the case, then it's really bad voice acting, because it should have
hesitation
very
keen,
in it.
Yeah.
He sounded really eager, which doesn't suit how he's been acting the rest of the time, or how he's been treated.
Do you think the changes between the English and the original were justified?
Not that one. That said, give me more sassy angel horse.
And also, the stupid lines I think I could have done without, like when they're in the computer room, they seem to remove a lot of, them talking about Ken to have silly lines.
Oh, God, it's so frustrating that they still talk about how cool he is, even though he's awful.
Yeah, which I guess they didn't want to do that in the dub. Like, that's what they seem to be removing. They're like, oh yeah, he's so talented and this. But instead they were just saying silly lines, like about donkey madness.
I also think that they might have implied that Ken's mother isn't a very good cook when she says what's for dinner in English, which is weird. In English, is every mom a terrible cook?
Apparently, yes. Apparently it's a funny joke.
It's a really funny joke when they tell it 4 times about different people.
But the thing is, the character that actually can't cook is Mimi's mum.
And her dad loves it, which is cute. Like, the only one who's an actual bad cook, it's positive because her family's into it.
Yeah, because they just love her so much, and that's like their family.
And also, the guy who's into video games instead of talking about his daughter.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't call that justified. I'd call that it's too silly.
They're trying to make a joke more of a instead of just
It's already a joke.
It's only a joke. It's like, oh, can you tutor my daughter for free?
Well, it's not for free. He didn't say that.
Oh. And then he gets an autograph for the daughter instead of getting an autograph to show the people at the joystick club or whatever.
But I always read it when he says I had an autograph for my daughter. It was more for him, and he's using the daughter as an excuse.
Maybe.
Like, it's a joke. It's just more subtle, which is something I can't really expect from the dub.
Episode 10 starts with Taichi being in a test, and he can't focus because he's too worried about Agumon. And I think that they just make him talking about how he doesn't like maths or something. In
English is quadratic. What does that mean? Instead of I really want to go to the digital world, I can't focus, which makes way more sense.
So then we see that Daisuke, TK, and Hikari are late to the meeting in the computer room because Daisuke's class were kept back, and because they're which makes them late because a kid in their cleaning group was causing trouble and like playing hockey with the brooms. But they just changed this in the dub because I guess cleaning groups, like after school and on weekends, you don't really clean the school in like your cleaning roster. So Davis was looking at his hair or something.
So Davis was looking through. He was dealing with his hair for like an hour. Mm-hmm. And then Yoli is late as well.
Yeah, and because she's depressed, and she says she doesn't really feel like going. And in the dub, Ty is just mean to Yoli. And he's like, "Oh, why don't you want to help?" And he's quite more understanding in the original. He's saying, "Oh, you don't have to force yourself to go if you're not feeling it."
But the difference is that in the Japanese, she was depressed and she was upset, and you can find out that things kind of got real for her when Agumon was taking. She goes, "Oh, there's real danger." In English, she was cleaning her glasses for 3 hours.
And they continued to make that joke because she's running water and touching her glasses a lot.
She'd be like, "I really got to get serious. Oh, I missed the spot," and just go back to cleaning her glasses. She's not sad. She's just obsessive.
Yeah. So
I'd get angry at her. She deserves to get angry at then.
So instead of all the children saying, "Yeah, don't go, just stay back if you're not feeling it, and you can make sure everything's okay from this end, and you can help us out. We'll stay in contact." But instead of them being kind, all the children are asking Yoli to do their homework and do stuff for them. Like again, it's this.
The kids are really nice.
Yeah, the kids are mean to each other in the dub. So Hikari calls the children in and like Digigate open, and it's just a lot less passionate than what Miyako was. Like it just seems like chosen children, let's go. No, but you have to scream it. You have to be passion.
I mean, it's actually kind of weird to scream it because there's people in the school.
So Ken is working on the Dark Ring and has SkullGreymon locked inside a metal cage, and he keeps on making him evolve just so he can study what happens to the Dark Ring when he evolves. Then
it sucks.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to feed him any food. It's super overpowered.
Yeah. We should just slap Dark Rings on all the Digimon.
I feel like that's a really good opportunity for something like... If you want to make this lighthearted at all, you just have Ken wheeling down like a room service tray to Agumon, being like, "Okay, you gotta evolve again." Just like stuffing bread into his face like Ty did that one time.
It'll be a nice callback as well. So the children have arrived in the digital world, and Tentomon's happens to be near a tree, which they get very addicted to in the dub.
So passionate about this tree.
It's good to have the whole gang back again. Welcome to my treehouse. Actually, it's not much of a treehouse anymore since SkullGreymon disintegrated it. Now it's more of a twig house. That's okay. I was planning on redecorating anyway.
Wow, thanks Tentomon. And there's an error in the dub because Davis calls the Digimon Emperor, which is the Kaiser's English name, the Digital Emperor.
I don't expect him to get it right, honestly.
But he said it right before, and he also is calling him Ken at this stage because he knows that his name is Ken.
I think they should have always gone with Ken.
Well, now they know his name's Ken, yeah, and they do. They just forgot in this moment.
I don't understand why they would ever use the word Emperor. It seems too nice.
Yeah, well, before they knew his actual name, that was the only name they went by.
Well, they could have gone like the Digimon Loser, or...
That's so, like, American. I'm surprised they didn't go with that.
The Awful Emperor. Like, just calling him...
The bad guy.
Just calling him the Digimon Emperor is such a weird way of going about it, because it's so respectful for this guy that he does not deserve it at all. It's like someone being called, like, some evil dude calling himself the president. You call him the tyrant instead, and it changes. If you call him the president, or in this case the emperor, you're respecting their authority.
Yeah. So then Tentomon continues to talk about his treehouse and tells people...
Don't touch it! I know exactly where every bit of bark is!
Yeah, and he's counted every piece of bark.
And he would do it.
Flamemon's fighting a dark tower, and Woodmon shows up. And then, so he gets rid of the Dark Ring, and Woodmon's just stuck under the broken Dark Tower. And
They're awful.
They're not going to help him?
So, yeah, the Dark Tower falls over, and it falls on Woodmon, and he's now a good guy.
Yeah, he's asking for help. He's saying, "Okay, just go this way to find where you're going. Hey, are you going to help me at all?" And
as
they
he's
don't.
being crushed.
And they just walk off, and he's going to be crushed. And he's a good guy now, so they should save him. So, yeah, they're not very heroic and nice heroes. So, back in the real world, Miyako's standing by, like, a cleaning trough, and she's sad, and she keeps on saying her Digigate open line, but she's not finding the passion. Instead, in the dub, because she's like, "Oh, it's not the same, I can't do it, I can't say it." So it's sort of, she's lost her groove. Like, she was always so adventurous, and she wanted to do it. She wanted to go to the digital world. She wanted to save the day.
Well, she hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
She ran full speed, and like bad stuff happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting.
And she's reevaluating herself. But in the dub, she's cleaning her glasses, and instead of calling her line out, she's trying to talk to the others, the chosen, through the Digivice, and she's saying, "Oh, hello, can you guys hear me?" Like, she's trying to see if she can contact them through the Digivice.
And then she's like, "Ooh, I missed a spot.
Yeah.
Gotta clean my glasses more.
Yeah,
another 4 hours."
Because she says, it's no use, because like, it's no use trying to talk to them on this Digivice. It doesn't have that. I can't talk to them on it. I'm like, that's silly. And yeah, she finds a spot on her glasses, and she's like, "Oh, I missed a spot." So we're switching around a lot because we've got characters in each places. So Ken works out that he has to change the shape of the dark ring.
Maybe a cylinder. Oh no, I've got it.
And then Wormmon frees Agumon, and he's not saying much at all. He just sort of walks in quietly, unsnaps the dark ring, and walks out.
Big fan of that.
But in the dub, Wormmon's just talking to himself. He's like, "Oh, I really hope that Ken's not going to be angry. Maybe he'll use me. Maybe I could Digivolve for him."
It's such a different characterization.
Yeah.
One is this perfectly selfless, this is the right thing to do, I'm going to go save Agumon, and whatever, this experiment is cruel, but I'm a good, I would say person, but Digimon, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other one, it's pure selfishness.
Yeah.
I'm evil, but I would like to be the focused on.
Yeah.
I want Ken's attention. It's so lame. It's so much. It's such a dive.
So Ken has now designed a dark spiral, and he says, "I'll be able to control them better with this shape."
Always a big fan of spiral energy as a plot point.
So then Agumon has escaped and is on a train, and he finds the kids, and I'm not sure how Agumon can drive the train, but he can, but then he crashes the train anyway, so shrug.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have like the range. I didn't even think about that. He's close to being able to do a trick.
Yeah, it doesn't seem...
He's really
possible.
short.
Yep.
There's lots of stuff going on.
Yep.
Is he shoveling coal into it?
Yep. He's just pepper breathing it.
I guess you could do that.
So then there's something that's like shocked me a bit. So Hikari's talking to Tai, and then Daisuke just pushes her out of the way. Just shoves her, just pushes her out of the way. And it's like with a bit of force, and she looks like she's bumped to the side, and it's just... I don't know, it cracked me up a bit because it was just a bit weirdly animated. Yeah, it was animated strangely. So Wormmon is saying, because Ken's just discovered that Agumon's escaped, Wormmon is nuzzling up to him and saying, "Oh, you can use me now. You can do lots of tests on me, and I'll evolve for you and fight for you." And Ken says, what are you talking about? What kind of Digimon will you evolve into anyway? You'd be useless, and this is where I think that his memories may be gone, because from the WonderSwan games, we know that Wormmon has an adult-level Digimon.
I don't... And you know what it is? I just think that this script was written without thinking about that.
The WonderSwan games, yeah.
I don't think they ever played it. I think... Or they might not have even been aware of it.
They might have said this character's from this Darkspore.
No, I think they were told, this character is evil because of this thing. Now write the script. Not, this happened in this game, this is the plot. I don't get the feeling this has any history before the beginning of episode 1.
Maybe.
I really thought it was weird that he wouldn't want Wormmon to evolve, but I think it characterized him well enough that if he considers Wormmon weak now, and he has contempt for any sort of weakness, which he sees in everyone in the real world, then it would make sense that he would have no faith in Wormmon being able to evolve. Because obviously evolution makes you stronger. But if it's not perfection, or not his kind of perfection, then he's not interested. The one thing that is weird then is that he hasn't black-ringed Wormmon at all. But maybe there's some kind of slight conscience operating behind the scenes that stops him from doing so.
Well, when I was young, I thought that Wormmon had been black-ringed because he does have a ring on his bum.
Because he's so evil?
Yeah, also the dub makes him a little bit more evil. But he has that sort of ring shape on his bum. It's just a marking. But I always thought that was him being dark-ringed, but he just didn't have the red glowing eyes.
I feel like it would be a good strategy for the Digimon in this show. I mean, they've done it before, actually. But they should always wear fake dark rings. Yeah,
well, they did that early in the season.
But they should just always have it. It would be safe.
Yeah, but when they find the Kaiser's not too thick. And I think Digimon that the Horde Digimon, not like the in-charge Digimon. Like, we had the Red Vegemon who was intelligent and he was, even though he had the dark ring, he could talk. And then we have like the Horde Digimon, like Meramon and Dark Tyrannomon and Tyrannomon. And
Because Meramon, when we met him, was intelligent.
but in these groups, they seem to be less so because there's lots of them. And same with the Frigimon, like they don't seem to communicate.
Reverse hive mind confirmed.
Yeah. I noticed that a lot when there seems to be a lot of the certain Digimon, they're not as intelligent. And I think that's
Inverse Ninja Rule.
Yeah.
I talked about that, right?
Yeah, you have one a few episodes ago. But I guess it makes sense because being intelligent makes them more powerful, and if there's lots of them and they're all intelligent, like, I don't know, it's more of a threat if they're intelligent, I think. And if there's lots of them, that's already a threat. So, since the children know the Kaiser's real name, they keep on calling him Ken, and Ken's getting really upset by this.
Good. Get upset.
Iori gets mad and throws a stick at him.
That was such a weird moment. He just has a stick and just whips it at him.
Earlier he was like doing kendo and hitting the air and being upset. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm so upset."
I know, but and I like it. I like that the kids are angry enough to bring physical violence into it, more than just Daisuke, who I imagine does physical violence all the time.
But this bit's a bit sort of add a bit more comic relief because Cody gets upset, and then Armadillomon is also upset because his partner is, and Cody says, "Armadillomon, you shouldn't be upset. It's not like your character." So sort of like have this sort of like, oh, he's a hypocrite, comic relief, ha ha ha. And they try and take a bit of the drama away, I guess. So yeah, evolution happens. Ken throws the evil spile on Agumon and evolves.
It's not like he throws it very fast though.
Yeah,
like,
just sort of falls.
Just sits there and he just has his arm out, like as if to catch it, and it goes on. But it's like, just turn around. It can't get you.
So Agumon evolves into MetalGreymon Virus. And I was talking to Jay about this earlier, but this is the original design for MetalGreymon, and this is the design that we saw of him when we first saw him in Digimon World, which is a PlayStation 1 game.
Is he bigger than usual in this version?
Yeah, because I think Virus versions are always implied to be bigger.
I don't know why that would be. I guess because they've got more content.
Yeah, but and also in the Digital Monster V-Pet, the Tamagotchi series, MetalGreymon was also MetalGreymon Virus, but when they put him in Digimon Adventure, they didn't want him to be a virus, they wanted him to be a good guy. So they made him orange.
Look really evil.
Yeah, like they made him orange and they made him brighter-eyed, instead of like this clearly evil blue version. I prefer the blue version.
That said, if he was originally a virus, it makes a lot of sense to me that would have been thematic in the show, where you've got this kind of techno-virus. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense that you've got this, big dinosaur, and then a virus hits it, and it turns a bunch of it into metallic bits. That makes so much sense.
Do you want another fun fact?
Yes.
Airdramon evolves into MetalGreymon Virus.
What? I mean, like, actually the shapes kind of make sense, but also what?
And that's in the Digital Monster, but it also, I do like him as a perfect level. I also do like Megadramon, because that also looks like Airdramon. But before Megadramon existed, I guess that was a fine perfect level. So during this time, Taichi really wants them to stop fighting and to not hurt Agumon. And then he's hesitating. He's like, no, we can't attack him, we can't. And then Miyako and Yamato show up. Yamato punches Taichi, and I've got it here that I know that Jay will just love more punching.
Well, this was after the fight, though.
Yeah, because they've decided that they can't because they've lost the chance.
No, so we're skipping forward then.
Okay.
So
I just didn't notice anything particularly interesting that happened between that.
They're fighting MetalGreymon, and there's something really clever happens in this fight, and it's like last episode where they've got the wind kicks up the fire. I'm not even sure this is intended because it doesn't make a lot of intuitive sense. But Greymon fights by shooting fire breath, whereas MetalGreymon fights with his nipple missiles. So when Sphinxmon and Nefertimon, and Pegasusmon use their golden lasso thing, and they tie up his chest. He doesn't have fire breath in this version. He has nipple missiles, and they cover it, so he can't attack.
Yeah, but I think he can use both. It's just his body.
Can he?
Yeah.
Because he's struggling and not attacking.
He has both, but I don't think he's too smart.
Okay, in that case, he's just stupid. I thought it was super clever. I was giving the show so much credit.
Well, he was probably blocked off from doing it.
Because his mouth was totally fine. It was that his nipple missiles couldn't open up.
Yeah.
I was giving the show a lot of credit. Okay, I'll take it back. That's fine.
You can give the show credit. But yeah, so Taichi thanks Yamato for punching him because it opened his eyes, and he's learnt that he shouldn't hesitate, and they might have been able to get Agumon back.
I really like that moment because it's It's Tai reasoning out everything of like, oh, this okay, it's fine. I've woken up now. This is why you punched me. This is why everything happened. And Matt's just like, wait, no, that's how I say hello.
And then Daisuke is really confused and doesn't understand. And Miyako is able. Yeah, Miyako is able to say her chosen children let's go thing again. So she's found her passion again, and that was a pretty quick conflict. But I think it was good that there's some conflict. It was not just her.
Yeah, although it's the same thing that happened with Iori and Armadillo.
Yeah, in
which conflict is a particular term I wouldn't exactly use, but the issue that they face is really, really serious and could have a lot of complexity and be really in depth, and they get over it in one episode really quickly with almost no effort.
I thought this part was from memory. I thought this problem that she had, this conflict, lasted for a bit longer, but that was just from my memory, and I guess I was wrong.
I feel like it should have lasted a lot. I feel like it should have lasted a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then you could come out at the end of it with, her saving the day in some way because she finally realized who she was because of some other stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
But the character development for these kids has been really, really short-sighted. And to put that in perspective, Tai has an issue that's going on with him that is already 2 episodes long and will continue.
Yeah. See, this conflict reminded me a bit of Mimi's when she didn't want to fight and she just wanted to stay behind. So it sort of reminded me a bit of that.
I feel this is more justified. And Mimi's lasted longer.
Yeah.
But this one makes much more sense because if she's an adventurer, that's how she dresses herself when she goes into the digital world, and she's just discovered, oh no, this isn't a game.
Yeah, I think that's the way she always looked at it. Like, this is a game, and I'm going to go play this game. So then the children ride their train boat into the sunset.
And you said that, Daisuke says, I still don't really get why he punched him. Whatever. And in English, Davis goes, who thought it would be a good idea to put the sail on the front? You can't see anything.
So what did you think of this episode as someone who was new to Digimon?
I quite liked it. I think that there's a really interesting interplay where you've got the kids fighting a Digimon they're friends with, and it does what I've been begging the show to do since Devimon showed he had mind control powers. Take one of the kids as Digimon and see what happens. And I think they're treating that really well, with a good deal of respect. It's not totally one-sided. Agumon does escape sometimes.
Thanks to Wormmon.
It allows that to develop as well. This was quite good.
How did this episode compare to what you thought in Obnoxious Synopsis?
So I thought they'd only put the dark ring on Agumon here, which was not true. They put it on beforehand, which is actually really nice in the sense that they're learning not to spoil the coming episodes in the earlier names. Only when you've got what they are do they start spoiling them, which is great. I think I discussed whether or not it would be Tai's argument, and I mean, of course it would be. Yeah,
you kept on flipping between you weren't sure whether it would be or wouldn't be.
I won't say in hindsight, of course it was always going to be, but that was if I was leaning either way in a 50-50, more like 60-40, I would have always said it was Tai's. It makes a lot more sense. I didn't think they'd be brave enough. If they weren't going to do it, it was because they would chicken out right at the end. But I can't even say they don't bring out the same versions of the partner Digimons, because we got Koromon Village, we got the little plant flower village, Pyokomon Village. Yeah, they're only baby versions, but I don't know. We've never seen another Agumon though. We've never seen doubles of the main partner Digimon. Like
I think it might be too confusing for the kids watching,
because we've seen above and below, but we've never seen them. Which I think is why we ended up without Plotmon. We ended up with
Tailmon.
Catmon instead. And so I thought that it would be either a long, boring fight, or it would be interesting and emotional. And that's what it ended up being. And I said it's 7 or 8, and I get to compare it to the rest of the season. And I think if 7 was the setup for this, it pulled it off really more than 8.
Wow, so these episodes are getting better each...
It's been very consistently quite good.
Well, that's good then.
Couple episodes.
Do you think that will hold up?
I think that we're building up to the end of this arc. I would be really shocked if the Digimon Emperor lasted 10 more episodes.
Right.
If we got to episode 20 and he was still around, I would be really, really surprised. Especially considering I thought the soccer episode would be like episode 12 or 15, and it already happened.
You thought the second episode was better
Yes, I
because the
did.
first episode was filler? Well, not filler.
Filler.
I meant setup, not filler.
I feel like there is a world in which you could have tightened this up to a point that you could have made the one episode that was a 10. I think that's possible. Maybe it would have been too much.
No, I think it'd be too much
Okay.
to cut, because you've got like Ken running experiments, you have Miyako's conflict, and in the first episode you have the fight with the Meramon and them discovering Skullgreymon and trying to fight Skullgreymon.
Yeah, it's probably a bit much.
Yeah.
In that case, I think there are definitely places that you could expand and contract these two episodes that could have turned them into a joint 10. I think that is minimizing the random Meramon fight in the earlier episode in favor of Miyako's depression and her concern. Then not fixing them in the first episode and pushing it to the second. Because Matt doesn't. She can open. I think it would have been better if, say, Matt coaxed her to open the gate for him, and then he went in alone, and so she has time to think about it.
Yeah.
Rather than just instantly getting over it.
Yeah, giving a bit more time to her thinking instead of just magically being fine.
And obviously, in English, if they were consistent about whether Wormmon was evil.
Yeah, and we didn't really have the realization that Miyako had. That probably happened sort of, I guess, when they were in the digital world. She might have had this I guess she sort of did, and she was like, oh no, I want to help somehow. So you don't want to talk about the Virus MetalGreymon's design? You think it's too similar to
He's
normal
blue
Greymon?
now, and he's bigger.
He's spooky.
And he's got slightly different... I guess he's got a little bit different eyes,
Yeah.
maybe? He's always...
Well, he's got the red because of he's infected.
He's always looked evil. The thing about MetalGreymon is he always kind of looked... He's got his weird torn wings. He's got this big, scary metal
That's because
arm.
he's based off this.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that his design makes more sense now than it did before.
Uh-huh.
The metal arm implies that he lost his arm somehow, but no, he just evolved. Alright, everybody, join us in the next episode of Chaiki Coffin Princess, The Storm of Friendship.
Or Blue Lightning, Airdramon.
And The Good, The Bad, and The Digi.
Or Jewel on the Digimon Meadow. The show notes will be linked in the description. And thanks to Stephen Patamon, who you can follow at Stephen Patamon on Twitter. Wu Qinglong, who has a Twitch stream, twitch.tv/WUQINGLONG. Metal Marmimon, Joe, Thunder, and Penguin Mage. Thanks for your support, and you can become a patron yourself for as little as $1 a month. You can check out the rewards we have. We'd appreciate that. But have a happy new year, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
I would like to be a penguinomancer. That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool, little with a robe and
obviously
stuff.
two big lollipops that you fly around with.
Oh yeah, I do like penguins.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you guys next week.